The other day, I was unboxing my Impact, making a video, and I said this.
Not a bad looking bipod. Send me one, and I'll make a video on it.
And the good people at Herman's Sporting Guns were like, yeah, no worries, mate, send us your address and we'll send you one. And here we are. So if you see something you like in this video, make sure you go down and check out hermansguns.com.au. They're the Australian distributor for FX, Vipertek, Optizan, bunch of other cool stuff. If you're into air guns, they've probably got something that you need, so check them out. They also sent me an extra tin of ammo so that I could run around and shoot stuff and have me a good time. So being that there's a company that's sending me something to play with, you may think that this is biased, and I don't know, maybe it is, but the way I see it is I don't have time to make videos on things that I don't like. So spoiler alert, I like this product. And yeah, like I work, this isn't my day job, so I work really long hours as a truck driver, so I don't really have time to waste making videos on things that I don't like. So there's almost no chance that you're going to ever see a negative review from me. So if you're, I will tell you what I do like and don't like about each of these things, but as a general rule, there's probably going to be no negative reviews on this channel. It's only going to be cool stuff that I'm actually interested in, and if I don't like it, it would really have to have pissed me off in a big way for me to actually make a video about something that I don't like. So keep that in mind. That's where we're coming from, and if that doesn't jive with you, well, watch it anyway. You might enjoy yourself, you never know. So yeah, make sure you check them out. Yeah, big thank you to Herman's Guns, because I have about just over $1,000 worth of bipods sitting in front of me right now, and that's not generally something that I can afford to just do on my own. Usually for the past couple of years I've just been running this, which is a Harris BRM, and it's the old school sling swivel stud looking Biduba, which has served me well for many years, but I recently upgraded to this one. Well, I don't know if it's an upgrade yet or not, but this one is the one that I bought for my Impact. It's a mag pull, and it's a picatinny rail mount. Strong legs, made out of polymer and aerospace aluminium and all sorts of wonderful things, and stainless steel. But these two bipods sort of are a bit lower in the price range compared to the two that we're going to be looking at today. In the future I might do a lower end bipod comparison, but the two that we're interested in today are the lovely new Vipertek that Herman sent me, and this here Atlas BT01, I think it is, or a V8 BT10 or something like that. It has no markings on it, but it is a genuine Atlas one. I've borrowed this one. So today, with these two bipods, with the Vipertek and the Atlas, we're going to cover where I think they fit into the market, who they're aimed at, and then after that, what I like about them and what I don't like about them. So why Vipertek and why Atlas? The reason for the Vipertek is basically just because it was in the picture and it looked great, and I think it sort of represents a lesser, like a higher value option for your average Joe than what the Atlas does. The Atlas is basically, this has been the benchmark for like heavy duty, high functionality bipods for a long time. This was developed for US SOCOM, and basically they make these out of whatever it is that Superman shaves with, because they're very difficult to break, and lots of people have tried. Basically, if you're jumping out of the back of a C-130 on your way to work in the morning, there's a good chance that this is the bipod that you're going to choose, because yeah, they're just very tough and very well made. So they're also very expensive though, and that's where the Vipertek comes in. It sort of gives you all of the same functionality with a little bit less weight because it's made out of carbon fiber, but it's also, this is also extremely tough from what I've seen so far, and I think it's basically designed to directly compete with with the Atlas, I think, just in the way that its functionality is. They've both got the picatinny, the picatinny rail quick release. The difference being that Vipertek comes with it, and you have to, if you can actually get these without the quick release. I'm not sure why you would. I'm not sure what else you would put on there. Maybe you want to put a old school sling swivel stud like this one, but who knows? I don't know why they do that. And if you buy it separately, it cranks the price up a fair way. They do have an option that isn't quick release that is reasonably affordable. I think you can get them for just under $400. But as far as value goes, if you kit this out to the same specs that you get with this, because bear in mind with the Vipertek you get pointy feet as well as round feet, so you get your nice rubber feet for this as well, and that's included in the price. But if you want to get pointy feet for your Atlas bipod, it's going to be anywhere between sort of $70 to $100 to get your spiked feet to put into the Atlas. So the Vipertek makes a lot of sense once you start thinking about that sort of stuff. A highly durable bipod that does pretty much everything the same as the Atlas does, except it's lighter, it's cheaper, it comes with 2 sets of feet. You don't have to buy the clip to go onto your picatinny rail. It all just comes in one nice neat little box ready to rock. So let us go to the internet and shop around. Right, so here we are on the wonderful world of the internet. I did some shopping around, and Huntsman Oz up in Townsville, wonderful shop. They have a lot of stuff that I really want. I'm going to have to visit them when my tax return comes in. They've got some really nice looking shooting tripods which will work for all of my guns, not just the air guns. But they had the best prices on the Atlas, the best. They were in stock when I was looking this morning. It looks like they're out of stock again. Interesting. But we've got for the Atlas BT10 LW17 V8 bipod with the American Defense Manufacturer 170S, which is the same bipod that we've got yonder. That's $450 for the bipod with the little picatinny quick release. And then we scroll down and we see Atlas bipod stainless steel spiked feet for $79. So, being that I'm an idiot, I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to go 450 plus 79 equals $530. So that's what you're looking at to get the equivalent brand name Atlas bipod. And we'll squizzo on to Herman's guns. And we see over here that the Vipertek CT1, there's also the CT2, which is the same price as the CT1. It just has the different adjuster. It's got the tilt adjuster on the back there. But we've got the CT1, and you can see here it's $359. So $529 minus $359, it's a $170 difference. So you really have to ask yourself, do you need to be paying all that extra money for something that basically does the same job? The Vipertek doesn't have the overseas fighting track record that the Atlas does, but really, if you are using it for hunting, if you're using it for PRS, if you're using it for bench rest, like what are you really using it for that you need to have that extra high level of not only durability, but you really are paying for a brand name as well. It's you're paying for that famous Atlas track record, but with the Vipertek, from what I can see, it does everything that I could need it to do. So if I was to be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on bipods for a higher end bipod, to be perfectly honest, I don't need the Atlas. I would much rather have the Vipertek, and that's my opinion. I can see how other people would differ from that. I understand the love of military level gear. I have a lot of it, which is why I sort of instinctively went with the Magpul. It's why I have the Schmidt & Bender scope. I like really high-end stuff that's good and strong, but the Vipertek itself, it feels really well made, and I like it a lot. So if I was going to spend those extra dollars and upgrade my bipod, I think it'd be a lot more likely for me to get the Vipertek than it would be for the Atlas. Honourable mentions to other competitors on the market. So Delta Tactical, they have a special on for the Accutac BR4QD bipod, which is a very similar piece of magic to the Atlas. I believe they might even be made by the same company. Or the company that owns Atlas also owns Accutac. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they've got one of them on special for $199, which is much cheaper than it normally is, $415. Personally, I think they're kind of ugly, and I know it's sort of completely subjective, but the way my stuff looks is important to me. If it doesn't look good, generally I don't want it. Or if I don't think it looks good, you might like it. Your mileage may vary, that's fine. But yeah, it's sort of, I don't really want that hanging off the end of my gun, looks weird. And then finally, we also have a carbon fiber alternative, the Javelin. I think it's made by Spartan Precision. There's pictures of Spartans on it, but it doesn't look like they actually have the same functionality as the Atlas, the Accutac, and the Vipertek. So they're a little different. They mount with different things, but that's also another option at $446. So quite expensive as well, a little bit more than the Vipertek, and I would say that yeah, they're not quite as functional as the Vipertek. Don't have as many positions. But I think these ones can actually, you can get extended legs for them, and they can hook onto, use the same little pod mount that they've got, and they hook onto bigger tripods and stuff like that for shooting. So pretty cool product, but not quite the same thing. I included it just because it's sort of reasonably close to the price range, and the Accutac is sort of similar kind of a deal if you're looking for something else that's in that same vein of high functionality, very durable, very expensive bipods. There are a number of other places in Australia that you can get the Atlas from, and the reason why I'm not showing them is because they're hundreds of dollars more than what Huntsman Australia is selling them for. So I didn't really want to publicly sort of direct traffic away from other local gun shops, even if their prices are higher. So just make sure you shop around, because the shop that's closest to you might not be the cheapest one. Like, the cheapest one I found was Huntsman Oz for the Atlas, and yeah, if you're not careful, you'll accidentally end up spending $600 plus on something that you don't need to spend that much money on. So yeah, just be aware of that. The prices vary wildly. So yeah, main competitors: Atlas, Accutac, and the Javelin, in my opinion. So yeah, that's a fairly wide spread of what's available on the market, and my choice is still going to be the Vipertek. So So testing. We did some different tests. We did a bit of nice, slow, deliberate shooting with the Vipertek and with the Atlas, just to see how they fared one next to each other. Ridiculous. It's just so finely tuned on its maximum power, but I've got it wound all its way down to minimum power for this, just to keep the noise down and save some air. I'm not really doing any accuracy testing or anything like that, but it's just so accurate and so easy to use. It's just wonderful. I very much am wildly, truly, madly, deeply in love with it. Check this out. This is 60 meters on minimum power, so probably somewhere around the 600 feet per second mark, and it just landed exactly where I put it. and then we did the old practical plinking, which is always a good time. A bit of a few different barricades that I set up, and just a few steel targets to shoot, just to see how we go. And it's a good way of A, having a great afternoon, and B, testing the bipod in the different positions, because you sort of, when you're running around and doing strange things under like a time constraint, it tends to reveal things that you might not have thought of before. So while I was running around, one of the things I found about the Atlas was when you've got your legs pushed all the way out, like so, to kind of protect the bottle, there's a little bit of play. You can see that there in the leg when it's fully extended. It sort of just doesn't quite lock up as tight as I would like it to, and there's a little bit of play. I think this American Defense mount can be tightened up a little bit more than it is, and try and it would eliminate the play on the actual rail, but the leg itself has play in it, and I don't really like that. It's not a huge fan of that. It doesn't feel like it's weak or anything like that, but it's just kind of annoying once you put a bit of pressure on it, and once you start moving around and sort of slamming it down on stuff. That sort of 70-75 aluminium, I think it's 70-75 anyway, leg is sort of, it ends up touching your carbon fiber bottle, and it is essentially a bomb that you're running around with, so you really don't want to be compromising them. They're quite sturdy and durable, but at the same time I don't really like that about it. And second of all, there's just that little bit of play in the mount, so I suspect I could adjust that out if I spent some time figuring out what's going on with it. But yeah, aside from that, the Atlas is real nice. It seems to hold its tension with its the finger tightenable pan and tilt wheel pretty good. Didn't have any issues there. You can loosen it off and tighten it back up again and get a fair amount of movement out of it. You can get the old left and right. It's all very nice. But one more thing that I didn't like was these legs. They actually spin, so they spin like that, which is quite annoying when you're trying to get a nice good setup and you're trying to like load into your bipod. Like if you sort of just slack off and leave your bipod sitting wherever it ends up, that's normally all right. But if you want to get a really good consistent same sort of thing every time, you kind of need to take the slack out of it. You need to like lean into your bipod, and that sort of wandering, slowly rolling forwards every now and then is kind of annoying, and it gives you like a just a little bit of inconsistency that you really don't want to actually have to deal with if you don't have to. And I think Atlas now makes a version of the bipod that we've got here that's a bit more expensive. I think it's up around the $600 range, but the legs don't spin on that one. But the legs do spin on this one, and it's annoying. So yeah, there's that. As far as the Vipertek one, you don't experience that. The adjustable legs on it, it's a friction lock. So if you didn't have enough tension on the friction lock, it would be kind of annoying. It might roll a bit, but it would collapse before it rolled. So you would know that you'd done something wrong. And that was one thing that I initially didn't like about the Vipertek. I sort of was hoping that it would be spring-loaded or something like that, like the Harris here, good old Harris. You just press these buttons here and pa-ting, out she goes. No such luck with the Harris or the Atlas. Neither of them are spring-loaded, but lock them up again. Once you get used to just giving it just a little bit of a turn to unlock it and push it back in, it's not annoying at all. I thought it would be annoying, but it wasn't, and I actually kind of like it better than the sort of the pop-out nature of the Atlas, where you pop it out and it sort of finds its way to a little notch in the leg there. This is good. There's nothing wrong with this setup, but the Vipertek just kind of feels a little bit smoother to operate than the Atlas. But yeah, you might enjoy the Atlas more if you like having a more exact sort of a length. Because if you're not going to max out both of these legs, you sort of don't really know whether or not you've got them at the same length. So yeah, the Atlas might be better for that. If you want to have, like, say you're on an angle and you want to have one step longer than the other one, that could be an issue for you. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I really like these legs now. I've sort of grown to love them. So yeah, the one thing there's two things I don't really like about the Vipertek. You really have to crank down on this pressure badooba here, and crank down good and hard, because the pan and tilt, if you haven't cranked down on it hard enough, it can sort of wander away on you. You end up being a little bit skew like that, and then after you've been shooting for a while, you sort of notice that you're in like a bit of a weird, uncomfortable, you're putting pressure on the gun in some strange ways, and yeah, it's because you've gone all skew-if. But yeah, you can avoid that by really cranking down on it, but you've really got to give it some. And the second thing I don't like about it is this little screw right there in the picatinny. Yep, we're calling it picatinny from here on in because I can't say it properly. But that little screw there, it sort of pops out a little bit, and it just looks out of place. It's tight and everything, because once you slap this on, you sort of open it, put it on your picatinny rail, close it, and then use this set screw here to make sure that it's tight, and then next time you just pop it straight on and straight off again, and it'll be perfectly tight. But even after you've done that little screw just sits above it for some reason, and I don't know why that is. It's really weird. There must be some sort of non-standard picatinny rail that this fits as well, perhaps, but it doesn't seem right to me, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't like that. Yeah, weirdness. So, to summarise, the Vipertek is really it's a very, very high value option compared to the Atlas, in my opinion. I like the way the legs come out, and I like the way they feel. They don't flip up and touch the bottle, and everything feels pretty solid on it. It's just that you just really have to crank down quite hard on the pressure thingy so that your pan and tilt locks in properly. But yeah, aside from that, and that weird little bolt that sticks out, it feels like a really, really nice bit of kit. I like it a lot. It's very good. And as far as the Atlas goes, if you have to do some sort of extremely murdery things in some horrible places, that's probably a better option if you're being realistic about it. We don't really know a great deal about the company Vipertek. I'm pretty sure they make like torches and tasers and sort of low-end scopes. They made the scope rings that are on my FX Crown, and they're pretty good. They're not the best, but they're pretty good. And yeah, so it's sort of just one of those things where you have to really weigh it up, whether or not you're buying something because it's the best option, or are you buying it because you just want something that's super high end. So that's sort of the way it is in my mind, at least anyway. So my pick between the two of them would be the Vipertek. I like the Vipertek more, and I'm not just saying that because it got sent to me. I actually do prefer shooting with it. I like that it comes with all the other stuff as well. I like that it comes with the the carry case and the feet and all the different options. And yeah, it's just so much cheaper than the Atlas. If you buy the Vipertek, think about it, you got $170 left over to go and buy the missus some flowers and take her to dinner, and maybe she won't kill you for buying a $370 bipod. You never know. You never know. So, words of wisdom from your good old Uncle Hodge. So, if you do decide that you want something like that, check out hermansguns.com.au. They've got all your ammo, they've got all your Craft and Lift extended rails and all the wonderful things. If you need anything and you can't find it in Australia, like the Side Shot magazines or any of that sort of stuff, talk to them and they'll be able to help you out. Tell them Uncle Hodge sent you, and you never know, maybe they'll send me some more cool stuff so I can make some more cool videos. So yeah, tickle that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.